Hello and welcome to Final Play Sports Wrap. I'm your host, Pete Lubar, and today we're going to talk about the Big 12. First of all, we're going to start with football because football season is now done for another season. Big 12 had 9 teams in the bowl games and went 4-5 during those games, highlighted by Arizona State's valiant effort losing to Texas by 8 in double overtime in the Peach Bowl. The Sun Devils were down early but came back roaring back to tie the game and force the OT. The refs ignored an obvious targeting call on Texas to keep the Longhorns in the game. Unfortunately for ASU, they are now eliminated, and they were the last team playing for the Big 12. So we're on to 2025, where I'm sure the Big 12 will be an excellent football conference once again. Probably the most exciting game was Kansas State's come-from-behind victory over Rutgers in the Rate Bowl. Never heard of the Rate Bowl, but that's okay. The way Kansas State started, it felt more like the third Rate Bowl, but all's well that ends well. Iowa State capped off a great year with a 1-point victory over Miami in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and TCU took home the coveted Pueblo Pot, winning the New Mexico Bowl over Louisiana. And BYU smoked Colorado in an all Big 12 affair. There were plenty of hype around Shedeur and Travis. Apparently they left a lot at the Gentlemen's Club, instead bringing it to the field. So I guess that's the problem when 21-year-olds have millions of dollars. They can do whatever they want, and there are no repercussions. So those were the teams that played. As far as the teams that didn't win, West Virginia lost their bowl, Texas Tech lost their bowl, Baylor lost their bowl, ASU lost their bowl, and the aforementioned CU lost. So, good season for the Big 12. We're going to switch gears here and talk about Big 12 basketball. This past week was the first week that Big 12 had conference games, and so there was a number of upsets. We'll talk about some of those, but got the season off and kind of got to see where we are, and so I wanted to recap that. Number 3, ISU beat CU on the road 79-69. Curtis Jones with 20 points. They followed up with a really nice win over Baylor at home on Saturday, 74-55. They smoked Baylor. Excellent guard Keyshawn Gilbert had 18. Baylor shot terribly. They shot 29.7 from the floor and 24% from 3, and just hitting 7 of 29 shots. Meanwhile, ISU was red hot. They shot nearly 50%, 49.9 from the field. They were 10 from 21 from three-point range. They out-rebounded the Bears by 7. Baylor didn't look bad. The Cyclones just looked that good. They share the ball as well as any team that I've seen this year so far in college basketball. So, really nice win for them. Number 14, Houston got a pair of wins, beating Oklahoma State 60-47 on the road, and destroyed BYU at home 86-55. The BYU game was a block party for the Cougars. They had 7 blocks. They also had 10 more three-point shots made. So nice win for BYU. Not a terrible loss for the Cougars, but this is what I was sort of worrying about. I think the Cougars are a team that's going to be really good at home at the Marriott Center and not so good on the road, and I think that may hurt them ultimately, but it was fun to watch the game. Number 16 lost to K-State in Manhattan. 16 turnovers against K-State. You just can't turn the ball over. And then they lost to the University of Arizona at home, where they shot 5 for 25 for 20% from three-point range and 12 for 23 for 52.2 from the charity stripe. So when you're missing that many shots, you're just not going to win games. And sometimes when you're a three-point shooting team like Cincinnati is, you're going to have an off night. And I think that was a big off night for Cincinnati. Nevertheless, they're 0-2 in conference now, which is already a problem. So we'll see if they can rebound with upcoming games. Arizona also beat TCU during the week. Kayla Love had 33 points. Lunardi has Arizona out of the latest tournament bracket, but I think they'll be there by the end of the season. I think we're going to get 7 or 8 teams into the Big 12. I don't think any more than that, because I think a lot of teams are going to end up killing each other in conference. They're all going to end up, 8-8 and 7-9, and I guess they play 20 games, so 9-11, 10-10, and they'll just get left out because someone else will steal a bid. It just happens every year. So anyhow, West Virginia looked really good. Both games last week. They upset number 7 at Kansas. Number 7 Kansas at Kansas, giving the Jayhawks a loss at home for the first conference loss since 1991, when Tad Boyle was a player for Kansas, not the coach of Colorado. Lots of great assists for the Mountaineers to an open Eduardo Andre, who was 7 for 9 on mostly point-blank dunks. So I think what I saw was the guards for West Virginia did an excellent job penetrating, dumping off. I thought Kansas got out of position a little bit, and they got in and got that win. So a really nice win for West Virginia. And then they beat Oklahoma State at home, 69-50. And I don't know what's happened to the once proud Oklahoma State basketball program, because this team is not good. Number 25, Baylor crushed Utah at home. Utah's really not good. And then lost to Iowa State, as I mentioned before. Central Florida got by Texas Tech and Lubbock, which was a very solid win. They won 87-83. And then got drubbed by Kansas. We'll talk about that one in just a minute. BYU beat Arizona State, which was a nice win for them. Richie Sanders poured in 30 points for the Cougars. And then BYU got beat as well. So that happens. TCU beat Kansas State by 1 at home, 63-62. So once again, Kansas State gets a nice win and then a weird loss. So I don't know if they should have lost to TCU, but I think they're in that group of teams that's going to be 10-10. Colorado lost their second game to Arizona State, 81-61 down in Phoenix and Tempe, and Arizona played without stud freshman guard Jason Sannon. Texas Tech beat Utah on the road, 93-65, and Darian Williams had 19 points for the Red Raiders. And then finally, Sunday, Kansas took their loss out on West Virginia. Their loss to West Virginia took that out on UCF, squeaking by the Knights 99-48 in Orlando. Hunter Dickinson poured in 27 points for the Jayhawks. And, losing by 50 at home in conference is not a good look. So a disappointing effort for the UCF, or maybe Kansas was just pissed off, and it could have been that. So, what did we learn from all that? Well, Iowa State is definitely for real with 2 victories, one of those over Baylor. Their ball movement is incredible, as I mentioned earlier. Their three-point shooting is really good. I mean, that's a complete package team. And, Lunardi's got them as a number 1 seed right now, probably a 4th overall, but number 1 seed in the tournament. And at this point, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to maintain that. West Virginia is definitely for real with 2 victories, one on the road at Kansas. Once again, they are very talented, very athletic, and a nice rebuild going on down there for West Virginia. We've learned it's going to be hard to win on the road in the Big 12, but that's not a surprise. It's always been hard to win on the road in the Big 12. It's true of almost every conference. Arizona, the Wildcats, despite some early season troubles, are off to a good start in Big 12 play. Houston is real with that beatdown of BYU. And as I mentioned, I think there's going to be a lot of teams in the middle with 500 records, basically, and we'll have to see if that's going to be good enough to get them into the tournament. So right now, as of this morning, Lunardi's got 6 teams from the Big 12 in the tournament. Iowa State's a 1 seed, Kansas is a 4 seed, Houston's a 4 seed, West Virginia's an 8 seed, Texas Tech is a 12 seed, and Cincinnati is an 8 seed. So, and I guess there's a 7th seed. Oh, 7th. That Baylor's a 5 seed. So they have 7 teams in the tournament right now. U of A and ASU are in the first 4 out category, so they're right there knocking on the doorstep. BYU and UCF are on the next 4 out. So a chance for a lot of teams to make some progress. If we now update the Big 12 standings, you see 4 teams with 2-0 records: Iowa State, West Virginia, Houston, and Arizona. You've got a plethora of teams with a 1-1 record, and then you've got 4 teams with an 0-2 record. And the only real surprise there, in my opinion, is Cincinnati, who is 0-2 at this point, but still ranked like 16th in the nation. So they'll have to get that together, but they've got to climb over about 10 teams to get there. So that's it for the update. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like this, please subscribe to my YouTube page. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me at Final Play Sports, fprap.com, Pete at fprap.com. Thanks so much for your time and have a great day. Bye.